Listeners, isn't it ironic that you want to cut government advertising to media, yet here you are using the same media to communicate to Kenyans?
You know, Jeff, the business of government is to create an enabling environment for the private sector and anybody else to thrive, to exploit their full potential, okay? So once we create that enabling environment, everybody else has to be agile in that operational environment. That is the way business is undertaken. It is not the business of government to get involved in business itself, yeah, to the advantage or to the disadvantage of any player, okay? So it's a question of re-engineering your strategies in line with what is happening in the operational environment. You have to react to change. If changes are taking place in your operational environment, but you are stagnant in the same space where you were before, you'll get out of business. What I'm saying is that in this digital age, the media must also reorient itself. You have to be agile. Strategic agility and maneuverability in that operational environment is what's going to make you survive.
Here's something else. You said earlier the government cannot be the single source of revenue for the media,
yes,
right? For the record, this is for the record.
Yes.
Royal Media Services does not depend on government advertising for survival. Government advertising is less than 10% of our revenue.
I don't have a problem with that. What I'm saying is that it cannot be a substantial source of your revenue stream to the extent that if it is not there, or if it diminishes, then you go out of business. No. I was basically reacting to what you had said, Jeff, that do we want to fight Citizen? And I told you we are not interested in fighting Citizen or any other media house for that matter. What I'm saying is that there has to be prudence in utilization of government resources, and I've been tasked by that responsibility. And I'll fulfill that to the letter. I must ensure that any expenditure that we incur, not just for purposes of advertising, must be informed by business logic.
Yeah. You were talking about re-engineering, and you have major plans for the future.
Oh, yes.
What are you re-engineering?
I'm going to re-engineer the operations of the GAA. I'm going to re-engineer, definitely going to re-engineer the operations of GAA, more so with respect to the amount of money that we are spending on advertisement revenue. I'm definitely going to do that. For example, some of the activities which are being undertaken by the private sector today, we can do those things within government. Tell me something. The circulation, the reach of the media houses cannot match the reach of Postal Corporation of Kenya. Look at the outlets, the Postal Corporation of Kenya outlets that we have today. Why should I, in this day and age, disregard Postal Corporation of Kenya for purposes of circulation of my gov and go to the private sector? It doesn't make sense to me. Postal Corporation of Kenya can give me a reach of over 100,000 every day, which cannot be matched by the private sector. I can do that within government. Yeah? Yeah. As we speak today, we don't even have a mechanism based on that existing framework that was worked on before. We don't even want to have a mechanism of authenticating that the private sector, or the media for that matter, the print media, actually circulates what it pretends to circulate for purposes of MyGov. Yeah? Okay. So I'm keen on prudent utilization of resources. If I can do anything within that space, within government, relying on government entities, I'm going to do that. Let me give you another example. We spend about 60 million shillings, for example, to print, from the private sector, to print MyGov. Within government, as we speak, I can state without fear of contradiction that I can use a government entity to print MyGov at 3 million shillings. So why should I go to the private sector? It doesn't make sense to me.
You've been losing all this money all this time.
Oh, yes. Government has been losing that money, and nobody has cared to take corrective action. I'm coming in to introduce change. If I'm in government just to be part and parcel of the business as usual, then I've got no business being there. I must introduce change for the better, for the good of Kenyans. We are in difficult times today where the economy is not doing well, Jeff, and everybody knows that. There has to be prudence in the utilization of resources. And this does not just apply to the space of advertisement alone, across all facets of government, we must ensure that there is prudence in utilization of public resources. We spend these resources, the government spends these resources based on tax revenue. It is actually taxpayers' money that we spend. We don't have any other source of money as government, largely. So we must ensure prudence in utilization of resources.
So you're saying
if I can spend 3 million shillings through a government entity to print my gov, it does not make sense to me to go to the private sector to spend 60 million shillings. If anything, I should be surcharged for that.
You're saying you're the new sheriff in town. There's a tweet here from our good friend.
I mean, I come from the private sector.
You do?
Yeah,
you do.
And anything I do must be informed by business law.
Okay, there's a tweet here from our colleague and friend here, Macharia Gaido, from The Nation, right?
Yeah.
Macharia saying, Jeff, you're letting CS Owalo get away with murder. Issue is not government nationalizing ad spend for the digital age, but about blackmail and threats directed at media houses. Withdrawing or awarding advertising on political grounds is misuse of public funds. It's illegal. That's Macharia Gaido.
I've not talked about withdrawing government advertisement. I've said that I'm going to re-engineer the operations of GAA so that I spend money that makes sense. I must rationalize expenditure. I must rationalize expenditure. Prudence in utilization of government resources is imperative for all of us in government. Why should I spend 60 million shillings, when I can actually spend 3 million shillings within government itself? You only outsource when you must outsource. If you can do something on your own, then it doesn't make business logic to outsource any service, not just advertisement. So let us not look at it from the confines of advertisement alone. Across all facets of government, you only outsource what you must outsource.
Waziri, let's switch gears here. Let's talk about the digitization.
Yes.
All right. Was it last Friday?
Yes.
The president launched digitization at KICC. 5,000 services.
5,084.
Goodness.
Yes.
When is the rollout beginning?
These are actually government services which are already about e-citizen. They are actually available virtually. Today, you can consume all those services virtually. You know, this is a fundamental milestone, Jeff. When we came into government, we only had a meager 350 services about that e-citizen platform. As we speak today, we have got 5,084 services as at last Friday. 5,084 services aboard the e-citizen platform. That is a fundamental milestone. And I want to appeal to you people of the media to also help us profile.
Oh, now you want our help?
No. Just by exercising your mandate, you have got a cardinal responsibility, Jeff, to inform the public. It's part and parcel of your mandate.
Yes.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Instead of just focusing on the negative or the pitfalls in government, when government realizes such a fundamental milestone, Jeff, with all due respect, help us propagate that in the minds of the Kenyan public.
Yes.
Really?
You scratch our backs, we scratch yours.
It's a cardinal responsibility for the media to inform the public.
Yes, but then when we become the checks and balances, then you start criticizing.
We have no problem with that. At no point in time have we said that the media should not exercise its mandate of oversighting government. Okay? Continue doing that. In fact, it will facilitate prudence in utilization of resources. And that's the direction we are going. We have got instructions from the highest echelons of government that there should